My female 35, husband 33, has a friend, Austin, male 32, who he's known from college. They're like brothers, and together they've extended their friend group. Now the group has over 7 guys who always hang out together. Unfortunately, Austin and I don't get along. He seems to be mocking my infertility and brings it up occasionally. It hurts because I've always wanted children, and for him to make it a constant topic of conversation hurts. My husband thinks it's just me being hypersensitive. Anyway, about a month ago, Austin and I got into a fight after he commented on my infertility by saying that I should hurry up and give him a nephew or niece because my biological clock is ticking. We were planning on going on a trip together, but Austin disinvited me because I yelled at him for what he said and ruined his dinner. I said I was perfectly okay with that. In fact, I felt so much relief I no longer had to be around him anymore. For the first time, my husband was okay with me being away from Austin, but said he still wanted to go on the trip. I said nothing till he told me he still expects me to pay for his travel expenses. I refused and said he was on his own. He started an argument about how I was doing this to punish him for not staying home with me, and told me that my issue was with Austin, not him. I told him he could get the money elsewhere, but he's unable to borrow any more money and add to his debts after he got fired in May. He insisted, and I refused. Then he started calling me spiteful and unfair for refusing to pay for his travel expenses to get him to stay home with me. Finally, he said his relationship with Austin is more significant than just a few comments Austin made and bigger than my exaggerated sensitivity and insecurity. Now he's sulking until I cave in and give him the money. Am I the idiot for insisting on not paying? Do I understand this correctly? Your husband's unemployed, in debt to the point where he has no remaining credit, and he wants you to bankroll his vacay with someone who's an idiot to you? Wow. Not the idiot OP, but why are you with him? But wait. There's probably more to the story. Austin won't have just decided to put this pressure on OP without influence granted. Mocking each other and hating on the missus is a cliche staple in some male circles. I bet that hubby is bad-mouthing OP in some capacity, or at the very least, has informed Austin of his frustrations repeatedly. Totally agree with you there. OP is likely being mocked, and Austin's just saying to OP what OP's husband says to his friends in private. Husband probably enjoys seeing his friends and laughing at his wife's expense too. Totally not appropriate or okay. Dump that loser, OP. Find a man that'll stand up with you, not step on you to help his little friends up. Austin isn't brutally honest. He's a brutal bully. So be brutally honest with your husband. Tell him he's broke and unemployed. Remind him daily why he's still fired. Then in front of Austin, ask your husband when he'll get a job. Do the same as what he and Austin do to you about your fertility, and tell them they're being sensitive. You're just being brutally honest, and it's just factual that your husband failed at his job, got fired, and is too hopeless to find another. I'd consider leaving my partner over crap like that, but I'm sure you have other stories here. Tell Austin to get out. Take his freeloading buddy with him and get out. Maybe he'll be more willing to get off his butt and get a job if Austin tells him to. I think OP is misspelling ex-husband. Maybe OP is her hubby's beard, and Austin wants OP's hubby to wait until OP gets pregnant before OP's hubby can file for divorce. Don't get me wrong, it is 50% malicious dark humor on my part, 50% genuinely wondering if this is the case. Honestly, with Austin's comments about wanting her to give him a niece or a nephew, it does sound like that. Austin assumes that once the baby's born, OP will be too busy taking care of the kid and out of his hair when he wants to hang out with OP's husband. And given the husband's performance in this narrative, it's probably what the husband wants and expects too. Just joining the Greek chorus trying to stop a tragedy in the making, OP do not have a child with this man. Back about 3 months ago, I lost my job as an RN following a gym accident that left me partially paralyzed in my left leg. I had to go through PT, but it wasn't super severe by any means, and I regained most mobility by last month. I'm still in PT, however, because there are certain things I cannot do, like bending the leg without me guiding it with my hands. So it looks like I'm walking with a peg leg, basically. During this time, my mother-in-law sent my husband like $600. We didn't ask her for the money, but she knew we were pretty hard up at that time because my insurance doesn't cover all of PT, and it was rather expensive, so our savings was going away at an alarming rate. Also during this time, my mother-in-law made me feel like absolute crap because she kept commenting on how broke she was and saying, well, if I hadn't helped you guys out, stuff like that. I often reminded her that we did not ask for help. She tried sending us more money shortly after that, and I refused to accept it because I wasn't about to have that crap dangling over my head, just like my scum family had done for years. I hate the "you wouldn't have that if it weren't for me" BS. It's the reason I refuse most help. Thankfully, I was able to start a new job from home about a month back, and we were able to start coming up with the money to pay mother-in-law back. Well, my husband went to his mother's yesterday to give her a portion of the money we owed, and when he returned, he started talking about wanting to give his mom like $400 extra. I asked why, and he mumbled some excuse of, well, she didn't have to help us. I told him I wasn't about to do that because $400 is like 34 hours of work, close to an entire paycheck. Well, to sum it up, he later admitted that his mother had said that she deserves interest on the loan since it took us so long to pay it back, and she almost went broke trying to help us. Generally, she is not a money-hungry person, or even this ignorant, if I'm being honest, but I'm still unwilling to do it. I said no, and if he plans to start paying her back interest, especially where he's been doing other things for her on top of this, like redoing her porch, painting her house, burning brush, mowing her 6-acre lot, etc., then I would be rethinking my options and potentially pulling my money from the shared account, because I'm not going to be funding his mother extra money on a loan we didn't ask for, and now it's going to be cutting into my paychecks and bill money. He kept arguing, saying she didn't have to help, so I snapped and said, I didn't ask for help, and I said no. I was calm before this. He says I'm an idiot for losing my cool over money, and that I'm acting selfishly, because again, she didn't have to help. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. $400 in interest on a loan of $600 for 3 months? That's over 260% APR. She's a loan shark. I hope your husband's not in charge of the family finances. Are you 100% certain he didn't accept extra money from her behind your back? Because that's more interest than a pawn shop or a cash advance would have the gall to charge. And it sounds to me like he's trying to cover paying her back in full without admitting to you what in full actually is. Drop her a text and say there's some confusion about how much she lent you both. Can she clarify? Technically, she gave you a gift of $600, and that's how any court would see it if she decided to take you to small claims. First, any interest charged has to be agreed upon in writing before you even accept a loan. What that entitled mother-in-law is attempting to charge is usury and is illegal, even if she was going to claim a super high interest rate, the kind that families who like each other would never charge, say 25%. You need to make your husband understand that all of the small chores he does for her have a financial cost or burden that he's giving away for free. If mother-in-law wants to play a tit-for-tat BS game, I say let her bring it on. Not the idiot, and do not pay a $400 VIG on a $600 gift. My 45 male wife died a year and a half ago, leaving me with our twins, Sam, nearly adult male, and Sienna, nearly adult female, and our youngest, Sean, teen male. I love my kids with all my heart, but honestly, my wife was the one that held us all together. Not that I wasn't involved, but she was the nurturing one who handled many of my kids' more personal issues, and they usually came to her about things before me. Sean came out to her first, before anyone else. She looked after everyone. Things have been less than stellar since she passed, and none of us have taken it well, especially not me. The kids are all over the place. Just over the last year, Sam has started dating this girl that he skips class for and follows around everywhere, and his grades have dropped. Sienna's been taking and selling her mom's old pain meds, while Sean quit wrestling and spends his time sneaking boys in and out of the house at all times of the night. I'm just at a loss as a dad right now. The straw that broke the camel's back was when Sam came home Friday night and told me he wanted to drop out of his senior year in the fall to ride around with his girlfriend around the country. I decided then that I couldn't handle this, and I told all the kids to pack some clothes and that we were going to my parents'. I called my parents ahead of time and explained the situation and that I needed the kids to stay with them for a few months while I got our situation sorted, and they agreed. When we got there, I told the kids the plan and that we would start family therapy soon. Of course, they were none too pleased about it, but they understood. On the other hand, my brother didn't, and they came over yesterday when they found out and told me that I was taking advantage of our parents and that as a man and their dad, I should be pulling my family together. I tried to explain why I was doing this, that I couldn't be the dad they needed right now, and that their grandparents could give them the stability and attention I can at the moment, and they would be less likely to get in trouble with them. Instead, they just told me I was a crap dad, and I needed to try harder instead of making them stay with their grandparents. Am I the idiot here? You are the idiot. In the past, you admit you dumped the emotional work on your wife. For the last 1.5 years, you never went to therapy, didn't get your kids into therapy, and you say you also didn't step up. Now you kick out all 3 children and put the responsibility for them on your grandparents. I'm sorry for your loss, but you definitely made mistakes in my opinion. Not the idiot. It's not going to look heroic, but if you're at your limit, you're at your limit. Trying to power through on empty will leave even more of a power vacuum. As long as you don't safe surrender them to your parents, and you're still a consistent presence during this process, it's making the best of a bad situation. Get better, then get your kids better. I hope it works out. You are the idiot. I'm so sorry for the death of your wife, but remember, you didn't just lose your wife. Your children lost their mother. It would help if you grieved with your children as a family, not send them somewhere else so they must grieve without you and you without them. Family therapy is a good idea, but it should have happened a long time ago. My boyfriend, 29, and I, 26 female, are currently long distance. We take turns visiting each other. He came to see me after almost 2 months of seeing each other. We finally were to make plans. I requested to have 5 days, which was approved by my job. I've worked there for 6 years. It was after my shift and I was heading out quickly. I had to pick my boyfriend up from the airport. I clocked out, and while I was saying bye, my new boss of 2 weeks stopped me, and he asked if I could cover a shift since one of my coworkers called in sick. We're short-staffed and he needs me to stay for a couple of more hours. I had a 10-hour shift. I was exhausted. I responded, "No, I'm sorry, but I'm unable to, and I can't stay late. I've covered it before. I don't mind, but I had somewhere to be." I mentioned I was picking up someone at the airport. He told me they could take an Uber. My boyfriend wouldn't be happy with me if I did that with him. Also, he has no key to my apartment. No one else wanted to stay, and I was the 3rd person asked to stay that said no. I said, "Sorry, I just can't tonight, another time." He called me a lousy worker, and I'm not a team player. I said I'm not a team player, and walked past him. I called out, "I'll see him in 5 days." While driving to the airport, I kept getting calls and texts from him. It got so bad that I had to pull over and turn off my phone. Finally, my boss wanted me to come back to work. I had to turn on my phone so my boyfriend could contact me. My phone was flooded with text messages, ding after ding. I think I got close to 15 texts. I blocked his number. I was so happy to see my boyfriend. I was getting emails from him constantly when I was supposed to be on my time off. I don't respond and I rarely take a vacation. One, he was asking me stuff to which I don't know the answer. Second, even if I did, I'm not telling him. I don't know, it was starting to get petty. I still had fun with my boyfriend. When I went to work, my boss called into his office. He blew up at me for being unprofessional and is still new to this job. I should have helped, or at least replied to the emails. I responded other people could have helped him. It's not my responsibility when it's my vacation time. I got my first ever write-up. Is this something I'm missing? Did I do something inherently wrong here? I'm considering reporting him. However, he is still new to his job. Am I the idiot? Edit. I'm Canadian. Not the idiot. What he did is unethical. He's a lousy boss with incredibly poor boundaries. Get straight to HR and report him for harassing you on vacation time. I would also formally request that time off be reallocated to you, as you had to spend it worrying about your boss's reaction. You do need to report him. I guarantee you're not the only one he's doing this to, and it'll only worsen. If you were the third person to say no to taking over that shift, what did he do to the first two who said no? Did he harass them too? Did he only do it to you because he knows you're a team player and more likely to cave? Either way, he's an idiot, but it might be interesting to know which kind of idiot you're dealing with. I once had a boss pull the "I've asked everyone else, you're my last option" card, and when I asked my colleagues, none of them had been asked. People like this boss might not have asked, or if they did, not pushed back on when someone said no, apart from OP, because of many things, gender being one. Perception of the likelihood of reporting him could be another. Yep, report to HR in writing and show all text and emails. Hold that info for the Labor Department, just in case you get fired. You may want to start looking for a new position if he's still your boss, because 1, he will turn it into a toxic work environment, and 2, you'll be replaced once he no longer needs you. Someone who's unprofessional will hold a grudge. My son has a teddy bear that he's very attached to. Since he takes it everywhere, it isn't in the best shape, and my husband's tried buying him new teddies, but he still prefers his old bear. I flew home from Greece 2 days earlier than my son and husband. When we got here, my son kept asking for his bear, but I couldn't find it. So I asked my husband where it was. He told me he had left it there because he had bought our son a new teddy that he liked more. I thought he was joking, since our son will play with the new teddy, but he'll always go back to his bear. So I told him to go back to Greece and get it. But he laughed me off and said that he'd get it in 2 weeks, as that's when he plans to return. We ended up fighting because I told him I was being serious and he needed to go back immediately. And he said I was being ridiculous, and this was why our son was so attached to the teddy. I was even angrier when it was time for our son to go to bed, but he wouldn't stop crying because he couldn't find his bear. So I brought up how he needed to go and get it again, and I wouldn't drop it until he agreed to go sooner. Am I the idiot? Everyone's the idiot here. Him for leaving the teddy, you for being annoying about it and not even considering the most obvious option, having one of his family members send it through the post. Like, hello, climate impact? 2 flights for a teddy bear? You are the idiot for making him go back. Also, your child will learn to live without it. It's not the end of the world. It'll be a couple of sleepless nights, sure, but it will end. Grow a pair. Your son needs to learn how to deal with disappointment, and so do you, to be honest. I feel bad for your kid's father. Not the idiot. All the adult logic in the world can't override your son's reaction. It doesn't matter how other teddy is better, or whatever. Your son is bonded and that's that. Husband needs to make it right ASAP. But far more importantly, he needs to really understand that other people's lives aren't governed by his opinions. His son is his own person, and husband needs to respect that quickly. I can't believe these people would diminish a little kid's feelings like that. It's just a little kid. That poor kid. And he's just 2. My heart breaks for the little guy. And for that alone, I would send hubby's butt flying with a one-way ticket to his relatives. Imagine being a bully to your own son. Disgusting. So it's a little weird that a grown man is enforcing his toy preferences onto a small child. That isn't normal. I get the feeling OP isn't telling us everything if she's trying to make a man do an international flight to get the damn teddy. I'm a 25-year-old female and pregnant. Dad remarried when I was 17. She and I never got along. She always pushed me. She wanted me to call her mom, then got mad when I didn't. She got mad that my dad was choosing me over her because we would go out together, just him and me. She went through my text messages and got mad at me for talking to my boyfriend about my depression and how I was feeling and not talking to her. She tried to take the stuff that I paid for away, phone, car, etc., and tried to make me babysit her kids multiple times, even on my prom night. She tried to make me lose weight by fasting for a week straight. I'm a healthy weight. I was and still am. That has always been monitored by a doctor due to health issues then and now. My dad and I still talk, just not as much. He wanted to meet for brunch, so I said yes, unaware he was bringing her. When they came, we talked casually with my husband there too, until we got into the topic of my pregnancy. She asked me all kinds of questions until she got to names. She told me I would name the baby Amy, her daughter's name. I politely said no. We already had a few names in mind. She started asking why I wasn't allowing her to name her grandchild, and she should get that right. I told her that it was our right. That was another issue. She kept saying that I was taking away her right as a grandparent, and that I've always been such a witch to her for no reason, and she knew that I never accepted her as my mother from the beginning. But I'm a bad parent if I'm going to project that onto my kid. However, this is when I stopped everything and told her that she wasn't allowed around my kid. She kept pushing it, saying that she always knew I was a brat, but being this bitter to someone who only helped her is absurd. Finally, I said that she could think that all she wanted, but I would be naming our child whatever we decided, and the name won't be it. Then she decided to try to hit close to home, saying that I was going to be a horrible mother, that I'm already not taking care of myself. I look like crap. I'm already eating too much and probably killing my baby with how much I eat. And I keep adding to how much of a self-centered person I am by taking away her bonding with her grandchild. Whoa, that hit me hard, but I was done. I told her that she would not be seeing my child ever when she was born, since she wanted to push her luck. Before I could say more, my husband grabbed our stuff and we left. I've never gotten so many messages from so many different people in my life. Multiple people are telling me that she was wrong, but I know how she can get, but I shouldn't deny her grandbaby. Others are just saying that I'm an idiot, and my father's on her side too. I honestly think I'm 100% in the right. It could be self-absorbed of me to say, but I do. But everyone else besides my husband thinks I'm a raging witch. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You're 100% in the right. Stepmom is an insecure idiot who only cares about herself. The fact that your dad agrees with her and didn't defend you shows how he feels too. Of course, he's also an idiot for allowing that. I'd want to keep the baby away from her toxic behavior too. Was your dad just sitting there the whole time not saying anything? Also, is a grandparent naming your child a tradition or something? Where did she get this idea from? Oh, I love the "you know how they are" defense. It doesn't excuse anything. Not the idiot, but you need to invite your father to your home on his own and lay it down hard. You will not accept such talk from her. This isn't her grandchild, and if he wants access to his grandchild, he better buck up. To sit there as she insulted you to your face and said such horrible things shows where he has put priorities. Tell him if he ever wants to see his grandchild, he had better start calling her on her BS, or both of them can get gone. Because honestly, you don't need her toxicity in your life, and you don't need your father's enabling her either. OP, she pushed your limits and kept doubling down until you put your foot down, as you should. Her enablers, your dad included, because who lets anyone treat their kids like that, can deal with her if they want. You don't have to. And let your hospital know that your stepmom is not allowed to visit you, just in case she tries anything. Better to be safe than sorry. I, a teen female, have recently moved into my dad's full-time. Before, my sister, young teen, and I had been doing alternating weeks between our parents. My mom is also currently 4 months pregnant with my stepdad's child. A few nights ago, my sister, mom, stepdad, and I went out for my stepdad's birthday. On the drive home, my stepdad started to make nasty remarks about the people serving us. I said that those comments were unnecessary. Then my sister chimed in saying that he was being racist. This set him off. He starts yelling about how disrespectful we are to him and her, that we never do anything around the house, and that we have no manners. He also states my mom either chooses my sister and me or him. My mom remained silent. He continued saying things like my sister's a pig and that I'm weird and need to smile and be grateful for things in life. I said back that he shouldn't call my sister a pig. The morning after the conflict, I told my mom I no longer wanted to live with them and wished to move into my dad's full time. My mom said I'm only causing more harm to her by moving out and should apologize to my stepdad for being disrespectful. My mom's side of the family has also messaged me saying I'm causing her unnecessary stress during her pregnancy and shouldn't move out. So should I have just kept quiet? And should I apologize and move back in? Not the idiot. Your mom's job is to protect you. I'm sorry she didn't. Your mom's pregnancy is not a valid reason for you to go through trauma and stress. By saying to apologize, she made her decision. You weren't even the one giving the ultimatum. I hope your dad treats you well. Tell your mom I love you, but you made your choice, and I made mine. It's gonna do more harm means I won't get as much in child support. She didn't stand up for you, and God forbid he does anything. You can count on the same type of action you saw in your post. You did no wrong in moving out of that man's house. He's not only racist and misogynistic, but he also called your sister a pig and gives his pregnant wife an ultimatum in choosing between him and her daughters. He doesn't deserve anything from anybody. Apologize to him? Incorrect behavior should be called out. Good for you for standing up to the problem. Get to dad's and continue being more mature about this than a mom who failed to protect you from her idiot husband. My mom married my stepfather when I was only 1. He had a 1-year-old son, and then they had a daughter a year later. My stepbrother and I are teens now, and our half-sister is a younger teen. My stepfather is the only father figure I know, and I've always called him Dad. My actual dad is not in my life. Growing up, I always noticed that he treated me differently. He never mistreated me, but he was always more interested in his own children than me. He always showed very little interest in me. I've always felt like a second-class family member. My mom treats my stepbrother exactly like me, but stepfather doesn't do the same for me. Anyway, these last couple of years have been difficult because stepfather started doing stuff with my siblings, like going on trips, going fishing or hiking, father-children bonding moments, as he calls it, and he's never taken me with them, despite me asking to go. Initially, he always said, maybe next time, until I called him out last week, and he took me aside and explained that this is for him and his children. I'm not his child like they are. He said he loves me, but it's different. He can't dilute the experience by bringing me as well, but he said my mom could spend some mother-child moments with my sister and me if she wants to as well, and that it would be good for us to have that only for us. This conversation happened on Friday before they went off for a weekend trip. My mom told me that this is how he feels. She can't change it, but she's made sure I'm always treated equally when it comes to money, which is true, but she can't change how he feels, so I need to accept it. I've been thinking all weekend, and it was clear that when he doesn't see me as his son, it's wrong of me to see him as my dad. So I decided that if I'm the stepchild he tolerates because of my mom, I will not pretend like we're anything more. So I decided to stop calling him Dad and go by his first name. So on Sunday night, after they returned, I said, "Hi, Tom." He was surprised but didn't say anything. At dinner, he asked me what that was about, and I explained that I didn't want to dilute his experience with his real children by calling him Dad when clearly I'm not his son. It's something that should be kept for his actual children. I was told to go to my room by my mom. Later, she came to me and said that this had hurt him and I should apologize. I said I'm just following his lead and treating him exactly how he wants to be treated by his actions. And if he's hurt, he should look in the mirror because that's his actions. My mom told me in the end that this is the man who has raised me all my life, and I need to apologize and show remorse. She said he's 95% of the way toward being a dad to me, and I shouldn't ignore all of that and focus on the missing 5% and reject him entirely. I declined and said he's the one who needs to apologize if he wants things to change between us. Am I being the idiot in this situation? Edit. He's never legally adopted me. although he always referred to me as his adopted son to the extended family. They said he would adopt me in a heartbeat if it weren't for the fact that my biological father is paying child support, and adoption would make it stop. Not the idiot. Both your mother and Tom are the idiots. Explain to your mother that this is not just how Tom feels. This is how he acts. If he were a true dad, he would have the same bonding experiences with you as with the other children. She's also treating you badly by letting Tom treat you like this. Suggest therapy so that she truly understands how damaging this situation is for you and how she's a horrible mother for letting this occur. She's choosing her husband's comfort over her child's when the husband is 100% in the wrong. His actions and words clearly show that he doesn't see you as his child, so he can't be upset if you stop treating him as your father. Tell your mother that Tom can't have his cake and eat it too. The perks and responsibilities of parenthood go hand in hand. I think you handled this brilliantly, especially for someone very young. It's crazy that Tom would feel this way in the first place. He's been in OP's life since he was a year old. How can you raise a child that long and not have an attachment towards them? Just as a human being, how can you look this kid in the eyes that you've raised for 15 years and tell him that you're not their child? That's heartless, OP, and my heart is with you. That's rough. Tom sucks. Screw you, Tom. I have a little one, toddler, with my wife. My mom has been living with us for about a month and has helped with the baby. Note my wife has severe anxiety and she needs her pills, so it's not an option. Or if she skips a day, she'll be fine. Then she'll end up breaking down in the middle of the store. She won't sleep, she'll forget things easily. She won't get anything done. She'll get overwhelmed that she didn't get anything done, then start crying. This is talked about by her doctor. She has to take her pills every day. The bottom line, she needs her medication. I set my alarm clock every morning for 10:30 for her to take her pills. 2 days ago, I didn't get that alarm. My wife has that alarm set also. She didn't get the alarm. I got a call 2 days ago from my wife crying and saying she couldn't focus on her work and was stressing out. Then it clicked. I never got that alarm. I asked if she took her meds and she said she forgot if she did or didn't. She didn't. My wife can't get out of work as quickly as I can, but my boss is quite understanding. So I left quickly to pick up her meds. They aren't there. I turned the house upside down looking for them, but nothing. My mom was with the baby when I got home. I asked her if she had any idea where they were, and she said she had them. I was enraged. This is a health risk. What if she had a panic attack? What if she passed out from that? I can't explain how badly this could have turned out. I asked why would she have them, and she said that she relies on the meds too much and shouldn't be using them, so she took them. Is she a doctor? No. Does she have anxiety? No. This is what her doctor or professional told her to do. I told her that she's not her doctor, her therapist, and that she's not anything regarding my wife's illness. Without a word, I grabbed my baby and left. I brought my wife the meds and told her what had happened. After some discussion, we said that she shouldn't have access to our home if this is going to happen, and it's just too serious to risk it happening again. When I got back, we talked to my mom and said she had 3 days to move back in with my dad and leave her key here. My mom started crying and saying that she was helping her and that the medication wasn't doing her good. But I said she wouldn't know because she hadn't done the research. I told her that we weren't going to feel nervous about what else was going to go missing. We appreciate her help with the baby, but she needs to leave. Now I have my immediate family messaging me, saying I'm an idiot and saying that she meant well and I'm being disrespectful to her after she's helping us. But this cannot happen. This will affect me, my wife, and my baby, and she didn't even say she was wrong. How do I know she won't do it again if I let her stay? Edit. No, these alarms weren't a coincidence. She turned them off. My wife has no password on her phone because she'll lock herself out, and my alarm clock is an actual clock. Both are easy to get to. Not the idiot. Many meds can have serious side effects if they're stopped abruptly. Your mom put your wife at risk. Your wife is taking meds under the supervision of a physician. Your mom isn't more qualified than a doctor. She overstepped in a huge and potentially dangerous way. She can't be trusted in your home. OP's mom probably spun the story to get sympathy. It's highly dangerous, and this was well thought and planned out by OP's mom. It was not a spur-of-the-moment thing. She snuck into both their phones and turned off their reminder alarms. OP, please don't just take her key. Change your locks. Is she making health choices for the baby too? That's a scary thought. I wouldn't trust her with the baby alone either. If she's capable of messing up with someone's medication, then I'm afraid of what she's going to do with the baby when she's alone. That's the thing. She probably was well-meaning, but so what? Her intentions don't matter nearly as much as her results. She can be simultaneously well-meaning and reckless, uninformed, irresponsible, and foolhardy, and the several latter factors will lead to dangerous results, no matter how well-meaning she may be. OP, you're not the idiot. Good on you for protecting your wife and child from this kind of dangerous interference. Recently, my 22 male, older brother 24, got married to his high school sweetheart, Sarah. The four of us went to high school together, and I lived in their apartment for 2 years while I was in college. So since I met Sarah, we haven't gotten along. Honestly, while in high school, I thought she was a huge witch. But like it was high school, and teenage girls aren't known for their kindness and level-headedness. During this period, I gave her a nickname behind her back. It was Shriek, and variations of the word, Shrieker, the Shriek, things like that. This was for 2 reasons. 1, she was always so angry and screamed at people. She was just a loud girl in general. The other reason is that I shared a wall with them when we lived together, so I heard a lot of shrieking late at night and headboard hitting my wall, which was not pleasant. I was asked to give a speech at my brother's wedding, and during the speech, I told this nickname and the reasons why I called her it. So I have told my brother about the nickname, but never her. I honestly assumed that my brother would have told her. Apparently, he did not. While many people thought the speech I gave was funny, and there were a lot of laughs, even from her side of the new family, she was displeased. She said the speech was humiliating and I was trying to make her look bad. I honestly wasn't. I was just telling a funny story. She said that I tried to ruin her wedding day. I apologized thoroughly for making her feel that way, but attested I wasn't trying to make her look bad or embarrass her, just tell a story. Am I the idiot? Oof, yes, you are the idiot. Did you actually say in your speech, I like to call Sarah the Shrieker because she's loud in bed and she's an angry woman who screams at people? Because that's kind of what it seems like you said. I would have cried if someone said that about me at my wedding in front of everyone. Right? Jesus Jiminy Cricket Christ. Imagine what he would say at this woman's funeral. Oh, by the way, people weren't laughing because it was genuinely funny. People laughed during wedding toasts out of habit, social obligation, social embarrassment. Wonder what Shrieker calls OP behind his back. I'm sure she'd think telling all the guests at OP's wedding would be hilarious. Jokes about people are only funny if they also think it's funny. Otherwise, it's just bullying. How could you not be the idiot? I can't believe a 22-year-old reached young adulthood and is so utterly clueless. What do I say about OP's eventual wedding? Forget it. I can't even imagine someone marrying a guy like this. You are the idiot, OP.